You can be as well versed as any scholar could possibly be on these teachings, and you'll be just as stupid as the rest of humanity. And I can tell you that from my own experience, because I studied these things when I was very young. You know, and I was smart enough to understand it, and so I understood these teachings long time ago, back in the late 60s, early 70s. You know, I was reading Alan Watts, I was reading Krishnamurti, I was reading, you know, all of these teachings that were available around that time. And then and on top of that, use psychedelic drugs, you know, as a pass, that's a day pass to visit the truth. And so I had experiences on psychedelic drugs, and I certainly understood the concepts well enough to speak about them clearly. But I was suffering more than I ever did, because now I knew the truth and it didn't make any difference. And so I was just at a loss in terms of maybe I missed something. You know, that the way I was looking at it is that maybe I missed something. And a lot of people that have that experience of having, through psychedelics or, you know, any of the other substances, or just to have those experiences of brief moments of awareness spontaneously, they come to the conclusion that, you know, I've got to do something to get it back. That's how it lands for a lot of people who don't really understand. I've got to do something to get it back. Well, if you make that mistake, that'll keep you lost forever, right? Because there's nothing you can do to get it back, and the reason there's nothing you can do to get it back is because it never left. It's been there all along, you know, it's you. You know, if it wasn't there, you wouldn't be here. It's there all along, right? So it doesn't go away. What goes away is your attention is what goes away. And when your attention goes away and starts practicing being stupid, starts practicing being back in the thought activity, and you don't know that, see, that's the thing, and you didn't notice, you didn't see that, right? Then you're back in the thought activity, and from the view of the personality, you'll have all these good ideas about what I'm going to do now to try and get it back, none of which will work, right? And you can spend a long time there, right? And the only thing that's missing is the fact that you don't understand that you can't just have the concepts. The concepts don't make any difference. In fact, the concepts will make things worse, because the concepts will help you understand what's possible, and then you experience not experiencing the possibility. So it just makes you crazier. But that making it worse is a good thing if that making it worse motivates you to keep looking to see, you know, what's the missing piece, right? What's the missing piece? And then what you discover is what I discovered, you know, the missing piece is the practice. The practice of being aware is the missing piece. What makes you think that you can just keep thinking better things and that's going to make a difference? That's never going to happen, right? You've got to actually experience freedom. Freedom is not a thought process. Freedom is an experience. You have to actually experience well-being. Well-being is not a thought process. You can't think happiness. You can't think peace. It's a state of being. And it only exists in the present moment, right? So if you want to experience, you know, what's available, you've got to be available to it. That's what mindfulness is. Be available to the present moment. That's where reality lives. The present moment is where reality lives, right? So how do you get to the present moment? Paying attention. Realizing that most of the time you're not in the present moment. Because when you're thinking, you're not in the present moment. Thinking itself is a past-based process. Thinking itself is a past-based process. So when you're thinking, the thinking that you're thinking comes from the past. Okay? So when you're thinking, you're not in the present. And when you're not in the present, you're not experiencing freedom. When you're not in the present, you're not experiencing the truth, because the truth is only available in the present, because the present is the only real place. Everything else is a dream. That's why they say that when you wake up, you come out of the dream. When you wake up, you come out of living in the past and the future. Because that's what the voice in your head is referring to, isn't it? When you're thinking, what's it using to produce thoughts? The past and the future is what it's using to produce thoughts, right? Which means it's never using what's happening right now to produce thoughts, right? And if you get yourself present to what's happening right now, you will discover what's called being. You'll discover being. Being is not thinking. Being has no content. Being is empty. Being is the bottom line. Being is being aware, and being aware is empty. Awareness is empty. When you move attention from the thought activity and you're experiencing the body breathing, you're now very close to empty. And the empty that you're very close to is not empty. The empty that you're the word empty doesn't really describe it, right? The word empty doesn't describe it because it's not empty, it's actually full of possibility. And the awareness that it's your true nature occurs to be empty. It seems formless. It seems like there's nothing there, right? But the nothing is everything, because everything is consciousness. So the nothing is everything. So it's not empty like there's something missing, no. When you're experiencing the experience of awareness, which is empty, which is formless, you're experiencing the potential for everything. You're experiencing the unformed potential for everything, right? And so it's not like some, nihilistic experience, no. It's a fulfilling experience, right? Because the emptiness is full. It's a fulfilling experience of sitting there being aware of being fulfilled. What are you fulfilled with? Awareness. You're experiencing the truth. You're fulfilled with awareness, and the awareness that you're experiencing has qualities to it, right? It has qualities to it. The qualities to the awareness that you're experiencing are that, first of all, it's timeless, meaning that it's not in time, right? It's timeless. Or you could say it's only the present moment, right? That's a quality. The other quality it has is it is without fear. It is without concern. It's fulfilled, which means it's satisfied. It doesn't want anything. It doesn't need anything. It's not going anywhere. It didn't come from anywhere. It's just here. It just is. What is it? I don't know. Don't know mind? That's what they call it in Zen. Don't know mind? What is it? I don't know. But do I have to know to experience it? No. You don't have to know anything to experience it. You could be as dumb as a rock and be enlightened. You could have very little data and be enlightened, because the natural state does not have a requirement. The natural state does not require that you meet some standard in order to experience it. It's always available naturally. It's always available naturally. And so it's easy to experience it. Now, one of the things that you can do if you want to kind of use this as a kind of an exercise, right? See if you can pay attention to your speaking. See if you can pay attention to your speaking. I mean, if you were to make a recording of everything you said in 24 hours and then went back and listened to it, you would get an idea who you're being. And it's not awareness. And there'll be a lot of complaining going on, right? You'll be an idea who, and one of the things you'll be witnessing is you'll be witnessing how the personality keeps itself in existence. You'll be witnessing. See, because the personality isn't real, right? Personality doesn't exist, right? But it's gotta occur as though it does, doesn't it? It's gotta act real, right? So how does an actor make the character they're playing real? Same thing, isn't it? Yeah, if you're an actor, they give you a script. This is the person you're gonna play. Study the script. And the script tells you how this person is, how their emotions work, how they tend to think, how they tend to behave, right? And they want you to, they want you to spend some time with that and get used to it. Get familiar with the character that you're going to play, right? And then when you go to play the character in the play or the movie, how does the actor make that character real? That's his job, isn't it? Yeah. A good actor makes a character really real, right? Yeah. So how does the actor make the character real? Right? He talks like the character, doesn't he? Yeah. Talks like the character. He acts like the character, doesn't he? Yeah. He feels like the character feels, doesn't he? Right? So all of those then are used for reverse engineering. The personality says, I'm real. You can tell I'm real because I'm acting. I'm moving around. I'm real. I'm this body. I'm moving around. That makes me real, right? You can tell I'm real. I'm talking. I'm being real. I'm making the character real. I'm talking about myself all the time, aren't I? Doesn't that make me real? I'm talking about me all the time. I tell you what I think. I tell you what I want. I tell you where I'm going. I tell you what happened yesterday. I tell you what will happen tomorrow. I even exist in time. I could tell you about my past and future. You see how it's creating a reality? But it's an illusion, isn't it? It's an illusion. Because none of that makes the personality real. The personality is still unreal. It's got a lot of material that it's using. It's got a lot of acting technique, right, that it's using to make itself real, but it's not real. And see, the thing that has it use you to be, see, the mind uses you to be the actor. You get it? It uses you to be actor. All you have to do to be an effective actor, to manifest the personality, is just follow what the voice in your head is telling you to say, and when you say that, you're being the personality. It's as simple as that. I mean, the reason I say this is because it's very often when I'm working with clients and I'm working with people that are studying this stuff, it's very often that we talk about the concepts, right? And they play the concepts back to me to show me that they understand, right? And then they'll start talking outside of that, and what they say is totally opposite to everything you just said. Yeah. So I find myself stopping people and I say, wait a minute, go back to what you just said. Can you go back to what you just said and repeat it and realize where that came from? And then what the personality does, oh no, I didn't mean that, I meant this. Yeah, because the personality sees it's starting to get cornered, right? So it starts shifting, right? No, you misunderstood me, you misunderstood. I'm real, I can tell you I'm real. Right? That's the desperation of the personality, right? Yeah, so all you have to do is practice your way out of that, because if you start to pay attention in such a way where you're seeing that, you're seeing it, you're hearing your speaking, you're hearing your speaking, and you hear how your speaking is coming from the idea that your personality is real, that's what you want to hear. You want to hear that your speaking's coming from the idea that your personality is real. And what the personality will do, it'll say, man, I'm really trying, I'm really working hard on this. I'm really trying to understand this. I'm really trying to wake up. Can you help me? Tell me what I'm missing. Tell me what I'm missing. Maybe I'm missing something. Am I missing something? Did you wake up? When did you wake up? Maybe if I understand how you woke up, I can learn from that and I'll wake up. This is the personality. This is the personality. And the way you can know it's a personality, right, is because it's attempting to wake up. And why is that evidence that it's being the personality, that it's attempting to wake up? Because your true nature doesn't have to wake up, it's awake. This is the thing you have to keep coming back to is what you're, see, it's inevitable that you are attempting to realize your true nature, isn't it? It's inevitable. You want to do that. You want to do that, right? Every action that you take to do that is moving away from it. Everything you say about it, that is moving away from it. Everything you do about it is moving away from it, because it's already the case. What has to happen, unfortunately, what has to happen is that you have to keep trying to realize what you can never realize. That's what you're doing right now, by the way. You're trying to realize what you can never realize, and you can't help yourself. You can't help it. Listen to your speaking. Listen to the speaking. The speaking, when people speak in this class, now nobody will speak. But when people speak in this class, right, if you listen to where they're coming from, they'll be talking as the personality trying to get this, aren't they? Yeah, that's the problem. That's the whole problem. Talking as the personality trying to get what you already got. The more you try and get what you already got, the farther away from it you are. It's like you're wanting to experience sitting. You want to experience sitting down, right? And so you're practicing experiencing sitting down right now. How you doing? Everybody's practicing being a sitter now. You're sitting down. How you doing? Right? Are you sitting harder? You gotta really sit hard. You gotta, because otherwise you won't be sitting. you see how crazy that is? Or you got to practice sitting longer and harder, and you have to study sitting. You have to study it. There's a teaching about sitting. There's a proper way to sit. Can you see how all that's crazy? The natural state means that it's that way without doing anything. It's already that way. So all we're doing here, right, all we're doing here is keep pointing at that it's already that way, to try and get that through your thick skulls, right? Because your skull is thick when it comes to this, right? Keep pointing at it. Keep trying to inspire you. The word inspire means breathe breath into. Inspire you, breathe life into you. You know what I mean? When you have a conversation that's about the truth, you feel a difference, don't you? Don't you feel like something's shifted, like something's different, you know? If you come to this class and this class is about the truth and I'm pointing to that and you're practicing having that experience, right? Then you walk out of here, by the time you get to your car, right? It's turned back into a banana. Yeah. You know, it just happens by itself, right? Why? Because this has been the practice it's a habit pattern. You know what I mean? You're so used to it. You're so used to it. If you start looking very closely, you will watch yourself slip back into, I am the thinker of these thoughts. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. If you could pay attention to it, you'll watch yourself slip into, I am thinking these thoughts. And when you slip into that, the thoughts turn into the truth. Before that, if you can see it for what it is, they're not the truth. And not only are they not the truth, but a lot of these thoughts are crazy. How could I believe that shit? When you're looking at it from outside it, you can ask, how could I believe that shit, right? That's why group therapy works, right? Because other people say, what? You believe that? Right? But in your own world, you don't have anything to compare it to, right? So you just take it for what it is. You take your thoughts to be the truth, and then you follow them. You're surprised that it doesn't work out. Wait, how did that? It's not me. It must be you. Because I'm just doing what I think, and what I think is always what's just happening, and So everybody's got a self-righteous process, don't they? Your thinking means you're right. Right? Your thinking means you're right. So if somebody presents you with their thinking and it's not the same as your thinking, already the system starts getting, this could be a threat. This could be a threat. They're trying to overrun my thinking, right? Can't let that happen because my thinking is survival based, and so if they overrun my thinking, they'll be threatening me. This is a slippery slope. It's not an easy situation to get yourself out of, right? Because you're spending most of your time with crazy people. It's true. I'm sorry, but it's true. And they can't help it. They didn't do it on purpose, right? They were just what happened when it got passed on, right? And they don't know it, right? So you have to have compassion for them, but you have to understand, if you're spending most of your time with crazy people, you better get to this class every single time. If there's a place in your life where the truth is being spoken, don't miss that opportunity. That's like getting an infusion. That's like getting a vaccination, right? That's why I say come to this class on a regular basis. Make it a point to come to this class, because here is where the truth is. Here's where we speak the truth. Here's where we talk about practicing the truth. And for those of you who have been here for a while, the beauty of this is that while you could go to a class at a college and get a lot of information, right? We're an information society, aren't we? So we believe information is power, thinking is power, information is power, even though the evidence is not showing that, okay? Yeah. So if you go to a college and you take a course, you get a lot of information, but that information doesn't change the quality of your life. This information, along with the practice, changes the quality of your life. So people who have been coming to this class for a while now, right, have reported to me, that it does work. That's the thing that you have to understand. This is not a theoretical model. This is a fact. Awareness is a fact. It does work. If you're being what you are, you will experience well-being. It's inevitable. You will. And if you take time away from the thought activity and spend time paying attention to the body breathing, your true nature will dawn on you. It has to. It has to. There's nothing else that could possibly happen. All there is the condition you're in and being who you are. That's all there is. There's nothing else. There's no other thing that can happen. So this is challenging, I understand. This is challenging, especially if you're a beginning practitioner, because you have to sit there and put up with your mind. But if you do, you see, that's the thing that people don't understand. You may have to sit there and put up with your mind, and that may not be a comfortable experience. But if you do that day in and day out without fail, and you just keep coming back to being aware of the awareness, the mind can't hold up. The mind cannot hold up. The mind must fail. It must fail. Why? Because it's not real. You're real. It answers to you. What's not real answers to reality, doesn't it? So how can it possibly go any other way if you just are persistent, right? If you're persistent enough and you sit there, see, that's what I mean about going to a retreat. If you're doing this practice for a while and you start to get the taste, you start to taste the truth, right? Then the question arises, well, what if I did this meditation like every day for 8 or 9 sits for a week straight, and I didn't talk to anybody, and I was just dealing with my mind for a whole week? And then what comes up, the mind brings up the next thought. Oh, don't do that. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. That'll be uncomfortable. That'll be inconvenient. Terrible thing, you'll lose your mind. Something terrible can happen, right? It'll tell you all that stuff, right? And if you believe that, you'll stay at the level of just doing the practice that you're doing, right? But if you understand what's possible here, see, that's what got me to do it. When I understood what was possible, it's like, why wouldn't I want that? And if I do want that, why wouldn't I trust what the teachers and the teachings are telling me, which is go practice. That's what they're telling you, go practice. And don't just do it once a day, do it all the time. Rest as awareness for brief moments as often as you can, right? Because what you have to understand, if you do this over time, and especially if you do retreats, if you do a retreat, it'll bump you ahead, right? It'll bump you ahead, big bumps. That's a big bump. If you do 7 days, a 7-day retreat, right? The mind cannot make it through that. The mind can't make it through that, because you'll just be, see, you got to get it. You'll just be sitting there being quiet, being silent, watching the breath, day after day for 7 days. By Wednesday, the mind will say, all right, I give up. What? I'll do it. I'll do anything. That's what you want. That's what you want. And then you can have real training of the mind. You'll do anything? All right, good. Good. Now let's get real. Let's follow the truth. Let's start living a real life. Let's stop being upset about things that aren't happening and start paying attention to reality. Maybe that'll work. What do you mean, maybe that'll work? Understand that when you're practicing, that practice and these concepts that you're learning about will come together. They'll come together and be an experience at some point. And when that happens, you'll know the difference it makes. And you'll know that it was worth everything that you did in order to get to that place.